let's put the focus on Arsenal now, particularly on the 15-year-old that we just got to see there, Max Baumann, 15 years old. The only other player we're talking about playing at 15 years old recently has been Lamine Yamal. Tell us about this player, Jules. He's looking special.
Yeah, very special. I mean, to the point that it feels a bit bad to talk about such a young player, really, and mention his name, but this is how good he is, and it's crazy. And not just today, but we saw him last season for the Arsenal fans who've watched the under-18s or the reserve teams. Although he was only 14, 15, he was still playing 4 years above at times, 5 years above against people way older than him, and skinning them every single time. I mean, I've seen him grown at the academy. He was a really good player when he was a bit younger, but in the last 2 years, he's grown in size already because he's 15, but he's 6 foot already. But also in terms of his influence on the game, that left foot, the fact that the ball is glued to his feet, and even in decision making, he's getting better and better. There was a time in some youth teams where maybe he was dribbling a little bit too much because things were too easy for him. Now, and we saw that certainly today, where he knows exactly when to stop the dribbling, when to pass. His awareness all around is great. His passing, even 1 touch, 2 touches, is very good. And he needs to keep growing, but he won't be able to play until he's 16, obviously, with the first team in an official game, and that will come in December. There's also, obviously, talk around his new contract, but he's an incredible talent.
Jules, has there been any talk about whether we may see him in the Premier League in the upcoming season then?
Yeah, I think that's very much the plan. He's part of the first team squad now. He will be given a number, I believe, and then until he's 16, as we said, until not before December for sure. And then after that, it will be down to Mikel Arteta, who we know because we saw that with Ethan Nwaneri, who started with the first team, made his debut at 16 away at Brentford a couple of years ago. That it's very much something that Mikel Arteta can do, will do, has done before, is happy to do. If the player is good enough, then there's no age. You know, as Kylian Mbappé used to say, if you're good enough, you're old enough. There's no problem whether you're 16, 17 or 18. So I really expect, if everything goes well, that we would see him in the second half of the season.
Shaka, how do you manage this, a 15-year-old with this talent?
I think that's inevitably the challenge. Now, of course, we've seen young, talented players come through. There's a roller coaster to those performances. Burst on these scenes as Baumann has, and he's not the first, I'm sure won't be the last. Then there's a dip in form, then a rise again, and it's how you manage that as a manager, and that's a job for Arteta. I'm not seeing anything new here. I'm not seeing anything that we didn't see about Lamine Yamal a couple of years ago. How you manage those ups and downs, how you manage some of the disappointments in the league, and how you encourage that player to continue to play naturally as he sees it, but while at the same time appreciating everything that's around you. Because in pre-season is one thing, in the Premier League, in games that matters, it's a completely different, it's a different learning curve. But to have this kind of talent at your disposal, coming at your disposal, is a wonderful option to have. And it's a different side of management. As much as we talk about Arteta as being a good manager, it's a different side of management when you're managing players this young. How can you get the best out of them? Certainly in the long term. The other aspect to this, and Stuart Robson would attest to it, is the burnout that comes with being that young and playing in a league this intense, and how that takes a toll on a still developing body. There's a lot more aspects to this than you expect with anybody else.
It's if you wanted to feel old, Shaq, and we don't need to do that, right?
No, I don't need much of a push, but carry on.
No. This guy was born in 2009, Shaq. It's one thing when you hear that he's 15 years old, but when you actually see date of birth, 2009.
Almost 2010, because it was like 31st of December.
We're talking about the World Cup 2010 in South Africa, Shaq. and we talk about these things as if it was yesterday, and it was yesterday, which brings me to the second point. It's funny to hear Jules talking about Max Baumann. Well, you know, when he was in the youth teams, he was dribbling too much. Well, the youth team was what? A year ago? 2 years ago? It's ridiculous. It really is to see a kid, he is a kid, to come out and play as well as he has and as he did, particularly in this game. And so it gets to the point to where, at least for me, the priority would be, if I were him and the people around him, what do I need to do in order to gain the trust, the respect and appreciation of the players around me, of the veteran players, of the players that have been around for a long time. And those are the guys that can really help me grow and mature. But in order for them to extend their hand to help me, to grow, to mature as a professional, they have to respect me and they have to appreciate me. And the way that you do that is the work that you put every day. But the other way that you do that is coming off the bench and doing some of the things that he did today. Those things will garner respect within the locker room, regardless of whether you're 15, 30, 35, 45, whatever the case may be. When you're able to have an impact on the game, that's a huge step forward. And the more you do that, the more you become appreciated and beloved in the locker room.
To your point, Shaka, what were you doing at 15? Not that.
To Ali's point, that was a long time ago. No, you have me thinking. I'm like, I have no idea. What did anybody do back then? I was living my life in high school.
Yes. Not that. Not what he's doing.
Definitely wasn't that.
Not that. Victor Gyökeres, we got to see, Jules. On a scale of 1 to 10, how confident are you that he can replicate his form that we've seen in Portugal at Arsenal?
It's hard to tell. I mean, the first thing is the excitement amongst Arsenal fans that they finally signed him and that he will be able to join up with the team. As we saw, he's already there on that pre-season tour in Southeast Asia, and then we will get to see him at some point very soon with that number 14. That's great. For the rest, there's obviously a lot of things here. The first thing is the Portuguese league is not as good as the Premier League, obviously. Sporting was playing in a different way, especially under Ruben Amorim than Mikel Arteta plays with Arsenal. But he knows English football. He speaks the language, which is very good. He's obviously been in the Premier League or around the Premier League and then in the Championship, obviously, where he made a real name for himself at Coventry before going to Portugal. He's that kind of striker that I think if you give him the right service, will score goals and goals and goals. So the adaptation is probably not as big as if he was a defensive midfielder like a Zubimendi, who will need to learn a lot of things in the Arteta style of football, maybe more than Gyökeres. Is a different profile to Kai Havertz. We said that too before on Friday Night Show. But yeah, it's impossible to say if he's going to score another 50 goals in a year or 40 or 30. I said 30 on Friday. Stevie was a little bit lower. It depends. But the one thing we know for sure is that he will have to hit the ground running straight away. Arsenal can't afford to have him needing 6 months to adapt. They need him to score now. He doesn't have to score 3 goals a game, but he will have to be good now, because otherwise, by the time he becomes good enough, they might be too far away from a Liverpool, a City, a Chelsea, or whoever are in front of them in the league. So they need him to perform as quickly as possible.
Just a logistic question here. For the record, was there a number there from Jules or not?
A scale of 1 to 10?
Yeah, a scale of 1 to 10. Was there an actual
Should we
number?
push him?
Well, I think so. I don't want to tell you how to do your job, Kay, but I think maybe we should.
Go on then, Jules. We're pushing you. 1 to 10.
I'm 7 out of 10 confident that he will be almost as good as in Sporting.
Okay. You know who's not going to be happy though, Ale?
Who's that?
We've done some digging. You know the set piece coach.
Oh.
Arsenal.
Superstar.
Yep. Well, we decided to take a look at the last 2 seasons in League and UEFA competitions at Sporting.
Oh.
And there has only been 1 header.
Oh.
2 headers, sorry. In 2 seasons. 0 last season.
Oh.
Is this a cause for concern? This is a 6'2" striker.
Uh-huh. Well, let's not forget that we're talking about this on July 27th. So this is the July 27th special, and we're trying to figure out what Victor Gyökeres is going to be for Arsenal, and how do these goals from Sporting translate into goals at Arsenal. Part of doing that is seeing what his skill set is. And you cannot argue against the numbers. The numbers are what they are. That is obviously not good productivity, being a header of the ball. It doesn't show that he is dominant in the air. And if we talk about a team that has depended heavily on the set-piece coach and the delivery of such set pieces from guys like Declan Rice and Martin Odegaard, they will depend on Viktor Gyökeres getting on the end of that service, which usually is with his head. If we follow this whole thought process, that number that you just shared with us, Kay, and thank you for doing the research, is damaging. It's damaging evidence. I don't think it says everything that we need to know about Viktor Gyökeres, but it's certainly something that points to an area of concern.
There's no big issue.
All on my own, without Xhaka's algorithm. There's no issue?
No, I'll tell you why. Because I think Arsenal's set pieces, Gabriel is still the main actor. Everybody else is playing supporting roles in Arsenal's.
Oh, right, nice little analogy there.
So as a result, he's there again, not to lead in terms of Arsenal converting set pieces. He's there to pick up the pieces from the set pieces.
Oh, see, you started well with your analogies, and then you...
I thought I finished strong.
No.
I thought
You lost steam.
I was.
Is Jules staying at 7.5 after hearing the stats?
I got it sent today. But again, we talked about the way Sporting played, especially under Ruben Amorim. There was not too many crosses in the air. Set pieces was not their thing. So you can look at it that way. I'm sure Nicolas Jover, who is the set piece coach, the magician, will improve Viktor Gyökeres. And I think Xhaka is right too. I think he might be there just to block people and to be a nuisance for goalkeepers and defenders and let others who are maybe better in the air than him score the goals like Gabriel Magalhaes. So we'll see, but I'm not too worried about that.
Let me just say, for the center forward union, which I don't talk about all that often, but if I'm a 6'2" center forward and there are services coming into the box, the last thing I'm thinking about is setting picks for somebody else. No. My job is to score goals. And I'm big enough, tall enough, and strong enough to win headers. So while that may be the role of others at Arsenal, my role, if I'm Viktor Gyökeres, is to go and attack the ball. Never mind setting picks or getting on the way of goalkeepers and such.
He's setting picks.
What? You bought a guy this expensive to set picks?
He's setting picks. I guarantee it.
Can I just tell you? I used to set picks. That's why you use people like me. People like me that have no chance of scoring. You set picks, Alejandro. Viktor Gyökeres was not, should not, and will not be setting picks.